Alright, today we're going to be working on the truck. I'm finally getting around to modifying the SS claddings so they fit the single cab. So this is, I think I showed you guys in the previous video, I got complete OEM SS cladding kit. I'm going to modify it to fit the single cab. So the only one you really got to modify is the cab corner, because obviously it's super fucking short. This is OEM. And the bottom part. So I'm going to show you guys how I did it. I already did the other side. Let me show you guys real quick. It came out okay-ish. I'm not done with it, but it's one piece and it fits pretty decently. And then I already cut up the bottom part too. That's the other one you need to modify. So this is already up to length. So I'm going to show you guys how I did it. I'm not a professional, so don't judge me or start saying, you know, I'm doing it the wrong way, because I probably am doing it the wrong way. But you're going to need the cab corner, honestly, and the rear door cladding. Technically, you should only need one side, because you're not going to use it anyways on the single cab. You should only need one side, and I think it should be the same. This little curve right here should be the same for both sides. I honestly don't think it matters. I'm just going to cut up one side, then I can possibly sell the other side to an actual extended cab one. But for now, I'm going to show you guys how I already did mine. First thing I did is you're going to need to wipe it down, and then I cut 2 inches from this side. I measured 2 inches along the whole thing. I'm going to mark it, and then once it's marked, make a straight line. I can't emphasize that enough. Straight lines and straight cuts are gonna just make your job a shit ton easier. Alright, so I got the line on. Tape will definitely help you be able to see when you make that cut, and you just it makes it easier to follow the tape line. So I just measured it, double checked everything. It's about 2 inches, you know, all the way across. You know, you can double check it like this, just like I said, make it as straight as possible, and then just follow the tape all the way down to the bottom. And now you're gonna bust out a Dremel with a cutting wheel on it and just follow that tape line. Alright, now you just fucked up your claddings, you know. So there's no going back now. I mean, you can probably weld it back together, but that would kind of defeat the purpose of this. So now you got 2 pieces cut right down the middle. So you got one end. Plan is to install a section in the middle to extend it to fit a single cab. But before that, you're gonna have to just all this little buzzy shit. And this is what I mean by this shit goes flying everywhere. This shit, like my hands are all, arms are all covered in this shit right now, and it's hot. So use safety goggles and a mask at least, or something. Then you gotta clean all these edges out, either with some sandpaper or a file or something. But you gotta get rid of all this shit on both ends. And then that's when we get to the fun part, actually making it fit. Alright, alright, so I think the video cut off, but like I said, piece of paper, tape it up. If you're by yourself, line up one side where you want it, and then do the same for the other side, and then mark it up. And now we're going to use this as a template to cut a section out of the other cladding that we don't use. I'll show you guys right now. Alright, so we got the 2 pieces cut in half. We already measured the space we need in the middle with this piece of paper that we made a template out of. Now, as you guys can see, I did go, the inner lines are the ones I traced. These outer lines are slightly wider version, a lot straighter than the previous lines. So the outer ones are straight lines, that the ones I'm actually going to cut through. So I'm going to cut that up, and then I'm going to tape this up alongside those to double check everything just to make sure. But I'll show you guys that in a bit. I'm going to cut this out and then I'll show you what I mean. Alright, so now we're double checking shit. So like I said, we already made straight lines of the previous lines that we kind of roughly drew up the previous time. Straight lines cut, piece of paper is cut out of template, whatever you want to call it. One side is already taped up because I need this one side at least to be up. I taped this part up in the middle. That's the piece we're going to be adding. And then now you can take the other side with your hand, and as you can see, it's going to be roughly that size that we need it. So that's how you double check it before you actually cut the other piece up. Alright, so it's taped on there. I traced the lines again with tape. I'm going to be cutting on the inside portion. I'm going to cut this side first and see how much I need to cut off on the edge on this side. Now remember, this is an extra rear door cladding off the actual SS kit truck or whatever. So this is, you're not going to use this on a single cab. It's kind of like it's that door actually. My dad has one. It's for that door. So you're not going to need it on a single cab obviously. So that's why you cut up this side to join the pieces. And like I said, well actually I haven't said it yet, but important that when you're taping this template, that you have it oriented the right way, because it is going to matter if it's top or bottom, because you're going to need this little curve right here to match the curve on that rocker cladding. So I'm going to cut this right here, cut a little bit off this side, and then we'll see where it goes up. Like I said, it's better to go cut bigger and then go smaller than the other way around. So as you can probably see, I do need to cut more of the template part out more so it can fit in a lot better. But like I said, it's better to cut it bigger and then reduce it or go smaller versus the other way around. So now we're going on the other side. I made kind of checked what side fit better, like against like what side joined together. That makes any sense. So like this side joins up together pretty actually pretty shitty actually. So what I did is I want to make one side get as close together as possible, where it's not like, if you see this big old fucking hole in the middle, I'm gonna try to reduce that, and then by shaving that on the other side, I managed to somehow get it back to fit in here without having to cut into it again. I don't know if that makes any sense, but so I'm gonna try to make these two halves match up a lot better and then double check it. This is where it takes a lot of trial and error, but you want to get this part good the first time around, otherwise you're gonna end up just struggling later on. So that's what I'm gonna do now, just file it and make it match up, and then probably tack it. So yeah, once you sand everything down, make it as close as possible as you can. Like I said, I need just the bottom one, so it's still open on there. You're gonna get some clamps and clamp it up, one on each side, and only do, so like this is the back end of the cladding, this is the template, the middle part. Do one side at a time. We'll worry about the front end, this side later. Just for now, we need to tack this in place, and you're gonna need a plastic welder for that. Now we're just gonna tack it, we're not gonna join it. Once you tack it, I guess you can still break it apart and start all over again. This is just kind of for test fitting purposes. But the thing about plastic welding is you're gonna need a plastic welder first of all. Harbor Freight Special. It looked like this gets fucking hot, so be careful where you leave it. It looked like this at one point, but that little tip at the bottom, it broke off, and actually it works a lot better without it, because then it just, the whole thing becomes super hot and helps it melt faster. So this is a new one. This is a accidental modified one. that broke off. Now I'm gonna show you guys. I won't be able to show video of me doing it, but I'm gonna show you how to explain to you guys how I'm gonna do it. So first things first, I'm gonna just tack it like right here and probably like right here somewhere where once I join this together a little bit closer with the pliers. First thing you want to do is you want to just kind of, you're gonna dab this thing and melt this section first. Just kind of dab at it, get it all mushy. You'll see it start melting and kind of like smear it together. That way it kind of connects, but it won't really be connected. And now the thing about plastic welding that I learned is that plastic welding only likes to weld to shit that's the same type of plastic. So in other words, you can't just grab some other shit and then weld it on. Like this kit, when you buy this stupid gun, it comes with a bunch of like welding rods, if you want to call them that, or some kind of gummy shit that you use, but it doesn't stick that good because it's not the same type of plastic. So what you do is you use all the little sections of the old cladding to plastic weld it, and this is the same plastic, so it sticks a lot better than anything that comes with this kit. So yeah, I'm gonna tap everything with a gun, you know, smear it a little bit left and right. Then I'm gonna use a little bit piece of this and then melt this into that. I'm gonna do that right there and somewhere over here on the back side of it, and then see how good it lines up after. I'll see if I can do a quick time lapse so I can show you guys what I'm talking about, but I won't be able to explain it as I'm doing it. Alright, so like I said, we're just tacking it. So we did three in just three different areas. It's all one, it's together, I guess. It's not one piece, but it's together, and that's how you tack plastic, I guess. So now I already measured it up against the other one. I did it off camera, but now we gotta start working on the other side. So this is how it looks currently. See how it's starting to take some shape. So now I'm gonna do the other side, and it's already, the template is a little too big, like I expected. So I'm gonna trim it down a little bit on this side. Always fuck with the template. Don't really cut onto these ones because then it starts fucking everything up. Just as long as your very first cut was straight, I wouldn't fuck with this. The outer pieces. Only cut into the template one. So like on this side, I need to trim it down a little bit. So this is it lined up, and I have that big gap in the top. But I'd rather have that gap than not have it straight on top, like across that way, across over there. So like this, it kind of, if I don't touch the top, it mounts up fine and it looks fine. I'm gonna see if I can get a fucking tripod view. So see, but I don't know how visible it is on camera, but you have that slight gap right there, but it's straight on top. So I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna tack it where it's touching, and then test fit again, see how far it is. Like I said, if anything, I can fill shit into there, and then once I reinforce it back, that'll be probably some other day with the staples. I'm pretty sure I can fill in that gap, and it'll look fine. Alright, so like I said, I got the other side tacked up, and we do have that slight gap right there, so it's one piece. Now I'm gonna test fit it, see how it looks like. One-handed here, buddy. And there you go. It's one piece. Like I said, I'd rather have these gaps on top. And I know it says it's a pain in the ass to fill these things in, but it is a pain in the ass. It just takes a long time, and you gotta like really be careful, because then you can melt the actual part that's gonna be visible, and then it's gonna look like shit, and then you gotta sand it down, and it's more a pain in the ass. So for you guys that are doing this, if you guys have more patience than I do and can make this as tight as possible, then that's even better for you guys because you'll have less work. But I'm just kind of showing you how I'm doing it. I am not a professional. I'm just doing this shit because I don't want to pay no one to do it for me. So like I said, as long as I'd rather have these lines up here just go straight all the way across, versus, because if I make these two touch, then it's gonna be cockeyed. But one piece, tack, welded tack, whatever you want to call it. Now we have the bottom part to deal with. The bottom part is kind of a pain. So this is the original OEM side skirts off an SS, uncut, unmodified, whatever you want to call it. This part is the other part you have to cut because my dad actually had an extended cab. So see how it fits across the whole damn fucking shit. Well, on a single cab, you don't need all that shit because you only go up to there and that thing goes all the way up to the fucking bed. So you're gonna need to cut this side anyways and shorten it. That's easy actually. I already did it on the other side. I just need to tack it and reinforce it. So this side has a curved part, so you're gonna use this curved part to fill in the gap of this part, this curved part. So there you go. That's where you get the curved part from. Now this is a piece of that from passenger side that I already modified. So I'm going to cut up this piece to fit in there, and then I'll do the driver's side some other time. But I'll just show you guys real quick. Like I said, this is already a piece from already previously cut, and then this piece was this part right here. This is a long ass piece that I just showed you on the other side. This part, you know, goes like that, lines up, and the other part goes there, and shit. You get the idea. So now I'm going to take this part that's already cut up. We're going to take some measurements of this area and cut that shit out and make it fit in here. And it doesn't go all the way up to here, it just ends up going like up to here, so you need to have a little square left, but that's a story for another day. Alright, so there it is, bottom part tacked in place now. Now I'll show you guys how I didn't show you guys how I did it, but I'll give you guys a brief explanation of how I did it, I guess. So this is the piece I had. It was smaller than this. First thing you're gonna do is you're gonna cut off this fucking lip. This thing, fucking one-handed camera sucks. This bottom lip, just cut all the way across. Done. Then you're gonna cut it to an approximate size, so a little bit bigger than what it's supposed to be. Watch out for the clip hole. That's gonna be right there. So try to use an area on either side of them. Cut a big chunk out, and then you got a big piece with no lip. Now, what I did is I overlapped this. You can kind of see how I did it. I overlapped it. I made sure this side matched up with whichever side. So it might be either this side or the other side. Match it up, and then once it was like next to it, I traced a line with a marker. So here, this lip is out of the way, so it doesn't get in the way of the marker, I guess. Then there's always going to be a crooked ass line. Then you straighten that line a little bit bigger, like I said before on the previous cut. Match it up. It's going to be probably too big. Trim a little bit, sand, whatever you got to do to make it fit in here tight. Match the edges, so straighten the bottom like that. Tacks some welds, and now you have a piece that looks almost complete now with a curve, OEM style. Alright, so I'm not sure where I ended off last time, honestly, but I think I was telling you guys about this little square area. I mean, by now you guys should probably have an idea of what you guys are doing. So basically, what I did is I cut this one and that one to as straight as possible. I then used a section of leftover. I actually used the lip, but on this one I used this lip because you don't need this shit, and on the other side I used this lip off the door cladding, and then cut that to fit in there, and then from there you just kind of gotta size it perfectly and just stick it in there and tack it in there, and that's it. So this is how it looks from the back right now. But here it is. Like I said, we're not. This is probably 50% done. We still need to reinforce the shed of it from the back and do the front body work. But that'll probably be a different video.